Hi, I'm Sam, and this was The Great Movie Ride. It was open at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida from 1989 to 2017, and it was a 22-minute journey into some of Hollywood's most famous movies of all time. I loved this ride because I love movies. Some of my favorites are ones I've loved since I was a little kid, some I first saw last year, but all of them can make me feel better whenever I'm feeling down or had a bad day. And lately I've been wondering, what if I could make my own great movie ride? What movies would I include in it? Since I don't have the money, land, or rights to any intellectual property, I'll build it on YouTube. I regret this already. I'll release one YouTube short every weekday, each one dedicated to one film I'd put in my ride, released in the order of where I would put them. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe. Enjoy the ride. Starting off with The Wizard of Oz. I don't want to make a statement like, this movie is objectively great, but you have to admit it's kind of the perfect movie. Great songs, a fun fantasy story, one of the greatest villains in film history. Despite a hellish production, see Casro's video, the movie endures as a cultural landmark to this day, and for good reason. It's aged amazingly well for an 84-year-old film. I'm still wowed by this sequence every time I watch it, even today. And yeah, maybe that's nostalgia goggles, but I don't think so. Some movies just truly are timeless, and this is one I'll always love. And today's film is The Sound of Music. I didn't grow up with this quite as much as I did The Wizard of Oz, but I love it nonetheless. And like The Wizard of Oz, it's one of those movies that just seems impossible to hate. A fantastic score from Rodgers and Hammerstein, great performances from Julie Andrews, the young cast, and the late Christopher Plummer, despite him always throwing shade on this movie. And in some ways, it's aged frighteningly well. Now, both the film and the original musical take a lot of creative liberties from the real-life story that inspired it, but nevertheless, The Sound of Music is an enjoyable, life-affirming film with great music, great performances, and great messages. So if you haven't seen it in a while, give it a watch. And Joe Wright's 2021 musical romance, Cyrano, deserved so much better. It's honestly my favorite Peter Dinklage performance. He and Haley Bennett have great chemistry. And the whole thing just clicked for me in a way the original never did. Sorry, Rastan stans. For me, this adaptation improved upon the source material. It's a faithful adaptation, but all the changes were for the better, I think. I first saw it in theaters and then again on a crowded red-eye flight, and I'm not ashamed to say I cried both times, even on the plane. And that's why it really sucks that MGM and Universal barely marketed this movie, and it flopped as a result. Maybe they were panicking after Dear Evan Hansen. Regardless, it's a great musical and a great romance, and I really hope it becomes a cult classic in the years to come. And if there was one film I watched more as a kid than The Wizard of Oz, it was Yellow Submarine. From ages 4 to 6, roughly, I would watch this all the time. I probably wore out the VHS. And I didn't even really know who the Beatles were yet. I didn't start listening to them in earnest until 2012. But that didn't matter. I could not look away from this movie, and I memorized every song. The Eleanor Rigby sequence is forever etched into my brain. I can't listen to the song now without picturing this scene. When I saw it in the theater in 2018 for its 50th anniversary re-release, it was just like being a kid again, but I found so many more ways to appreciate it.